another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me as always is new Miguel, Kevin, Jank.
Jemm is excitement. Ooh, Jemm is adventure. Ooh, Jemm, glamour and glitter, fashion and fame. Jemm is truly outrageous. Truly outrageous.
Wow, you're just going to keep going.
I'll do the whole song if you let me.
Yes, today on the show we're reading Jemm, Son of Saturn, issue 3 from 1984. But this is Jemm. What Jank was doing there was a little disturbing, but it was a theme song for a cartoon called Jemm and the Holograms, right? G-E-M.
Yep. Right? I think it was J-E-M, but just one
really?
M.
I thought it was G. All right, it was just one M. All right. Well,
yeah.
You do know you're Jemm and the Holograms.
And, apparently.
And now, that cartoon was on all the time when I was a kid, but it was like a girl rock band or something, right?
Yeah, I believe there was like a rival rock band that's always, causing them problems or something like that. I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You just sang the whole theme song.
I only know that part because that was in the theme song. They're like, we're the Misfits. Our songs are better. We are the Misfits. The Misfits.
Oh, you really do. Is that on your Spotify playlist or something? How do you have this?
This band I like called Freeze Pop. They did a cover of it.
Lord. All right, I've already heard enough. Freeze Pop. Good Lord. I don't even know. All right. So yeah, today that's Jemm, Son of Saturn. We'll get all into that. But before we start, let's remind everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Hey, Jank, we're up to 316 subscribers. Picked up 6.
Got a couple. All right.
People are liking this Alf.
Wow. They did not read the issue, apparently.
It's doing gangbusters ratings over there. So, yeah, everyone's coming in to hear more Alf.
Now's the time for that Alf reboot, I'm telling you.
And again, the goal is 500 subscribers. If we get there, Jank's going to make me read The Dark Knight every week for a month.
Please help us get there. I want this to happen so badly.
And also have a book out there called Monkey Flip about a chimp detective. All right, so Jemm, Son of Saturn, it was created by Greg Potter and Gene Colan, and Jemm's first appearance was issue 1 of Jemm, Son of Saturn.
A character with a long storied history.
Yeah, this is a 12-issue limited series, and it's probably no big demand for it to come back,
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say that I've heard much of Jemm. I don't think he had. I don't know what his appearance rate after this was, but probably not great.
I think I read he was on one of those one of them Arrowverse shows or something. You used to watch those deals, or maybe Supergirl or something. She was on an episode.
Yeah, I know that. I feel like they definitely ripped off this backstory on Supergirl with with the Martian Manhunter, because I feel like he was, like a green Martian, but he was the white aliens, the white Martians wiped out his race or whatever. So I feel like they just ripped that off.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because initially Jemm was going to be Martian Manhunter's cousin, and he was going to be from Mars. Because at the time this book came out, Martian Manhunter really wasn't doing anything, and so I guess this Greg Potter fella, he thought, I'd like to do a similar character. I'll just say he's his cousin, like Balky and Larry on Perfect Strangers. They're cousins. And
judging by what we've seen in here, he seems like the even more boring cousin. So I don't know why they're like, hey, let's.
It'd be like the Patty Duke show with 2 Kathys.
Yeah,
that's a very old TV reference for all you kids out there.
He definitely is no cousin Balky. I'll say that much.
But wait, that's a real shot at Larry. I love Larry Appleton. What are you talking? All right, but anyway, but like I said, this was 84. Martian Manhunter wasn't doing anything. But then, after Potter had already got the okay, like he was starting to write things up and everything, they said, you know what? We're going to bring Martian Manhunter into Justice League of America, so just scrap that. You're not allowed to do that. You can't. They can't be cousins. So he's like, all right, I'll make them from Saturn. So that's what he did.
What other planets we got? Meow. It was almost Uranus, but the editors didn't like that.
Yeah, that'll classic. But here we go from Mars to Saturn. And I guess the idea, or eventually they revealed that all the Saturn people were genetically, started in Mars or some sort of genetic modification.
Oh, like genetic, cousins.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Predators.
So, that's kind of the a whole history of Jemm, the son of Saturn. That's all I got, really. Yeah, because on Saturn, our guy, he's red, and he looks a lot like Martian Manhunter, very similar, except he's red instead of green. Yeah.
Yep.
And oddly enough, all his powers are basically the same as the.
Yep, very reminiscent, except not as cool.
And he's got a gem on his forehead.
Yeah, which makes him kind of like the Vision.
Yes,
a little bit.
Very much so. And he can shoot lasers out of it or stuff, and he can use it to access other people's emotions or something. I'll say this. That was
a nebulous power.
Yeah, this Jemm, son of Saturn, not the toughest guy I've ever seen.
No. Real lightweight.
Yeah. We'll ply this guy.
Yeah. If that's your ability just to, I don't know, get in touch with people's power or fears or something, all right. So he's just oh, you're just lashing out because you have a tiny wiener. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, you're right. I guess I'll stop now.
Jemm, therapist of Saturn. Yeah, that's what he's doing here. But, because he can also shapeshift in a little bit. Not as much, I think, as Martian Manhunter, but maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Just like a pinky.
Well, apparently this costume that he's wearing, because that was the same thing Martian Manhunter did, right? He shapeshifted into, a superhero appearance.
Yeah. Because
normally he's a little cricket thing, right? He's a little weird looking thing.
Yeah, he's kind of anorexic looking, I think.
Yeah, so some of this Jemm fella, he did the same thing, because in issue 1, we'll get into the whole backstory of the character in this issue, but in issue 1, he lands on Earth, because he's here looking for somebody, and he lands in Harlem, and he encounters a little kid named Luther, and Luther invites him back to his house, and they just moves in with Luther and his older brother and his grandfather. But his older brother is in trouble with some street toughs, and there's Jemm intervenes, and the grandfather ends up dying, because that's sad. But anyway, the whole point of this,
they had to get rid of the grandpa because he would have been like, why is this man living here now? This red man.
But yeah, Luther finds him in an alley, and he looks like a red skinny guy, but then he just transforms himself into the heroic costume wearing guy. So,
okay.
Oh, it's weird. But I was thinking when I was looking through that today, and I was like, wow, if this was a movie back in the 80s, Luther's Gary Coleman.
I
ought to watch the hell out of it.
Imagine the foot chases that could have happened.
If there's a movie with Gary Coleman in it, I watched it. So, don't worry about that.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk real quick about this. We all know Gene Colan, of course, one of my favorite artists. We've talked about him many times on the show. Team of Dracula, Howard the Duck, countless things he's done over the years. Countless things.
Sure.
He's. It sounds like you don't know who Gene Colan is.
No, I do.
Okay, fair enough.
I do. I'm not nearly as big a fan as you are.
I am a big fan. So Greg Potter, he began writing comics for Warren Publishing black and white horror magazines in 1971, including 6 issues of Eerie, 7 issues of Creepy, and 1 issue of Vampirella.
Oh. I bet nothing much happened in that one, and then she just bit someone at the end.
This issue would have been better if someone got bitten at the end.
Yeah.
1978 and 79, he wrote some stories for DC. He did 3 issues of House of Mystery and 1 issue of Secrets of Haunted House. So that's something. Then he went away. He went to college or something. And then when he got out of college, he just pitched this idea to DC, and they, let's do it. It's not like this guy has a great comic book writing career or anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
And his whole idea was, I want to rip off the Martian Manhunter.
Yes, that's what I don't understand. Like, these are his only credits at DC. That's it. Like, and then,
Holy hell.
well, up until that point. So it's not like he was like a big name guy or anything. He's just a dude. He must have knew somebody, you know? That's how it always.
Yeah, that's crazy. That honestly makes no sense. There's more to this story.
And so he did the 12 issues here of Jemm. Then in 1985, he did a DC graphic novel. And it was, I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't anything like, no big name characters or anything. It seemed weird. I don't know. And then,
Wonder Woman's cousin.
Well, interesting you bring her up. And he also did issues 1 and 2 of the Wonder Woman Volume 2, which was like, this was 1987. They were like rebooting Wonder Woman.
Reboot, yeah.
Yeah. And the work he did to reboot that series earned him a credit in the Wonder Woman movie.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
Sun is shining on this guy's ass.
Because then after that, he left comics and he had a career in advertising.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty much it.
Huh. He got out, got in, got out.
He created Jemm and he left.
Yeah. Came up with one of the many Wonder Woman origins. I feel like they change it every time.
So that's all we got for Jemm, Son of Saturn.
Tune in next week.
Why don't you describe the cover for us, Jank?
Okay. Not a great cover.
How dare you?
I can't say that I was a huge fan. But we got a little DC logo up there in the top left. It's all black. And it says 12-part maxi series, because that's what they call these bigger series, the maxi series. And it says Greg Potter, Gene Colan, and Klaus Janson.
Yeah, how about Klaus Janson on the Yanks, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
We get the Jemm, Son of Saturn logo. The JEMM is really big, and there's like a little gem in the middle like section of the E. And it's kind of shining all over the place. Kind of cool logo, I guess. I'll give him credit for that. Better than the character itself. And then we get a shot of Jemm there. He's standing there just kind of, I don't know what he's doing with his arms. Just kind of, one's all clenched in a fist. One's just open, and I don't know. He's kind of looking up into space and kind of, I guess, seeing flashbacks to things that happened in his life.
Robot.
Kind of black and white, just sketchy shots of what's going on there.
Yeah, almost like in a blue and white. And, we learned in this issue that's a Saturn robot. Those filthy Saturn robots. And he's blowing up his trusted, beloved mentor and teacher and his mother.
Yeah.
So, how about that?
Yep, that's something, all right. And down in the bottom right there, it says the origin of Jemm. And the little corner box on the other side says the new DC. There's no stopping us now. No matter what you do, you
then
can't
the narrator comes on. They stopped them. They stopped. Yeah, DC wasn't very good back then. DC still wasn't very good. Hey, did you? Shoot. You know what? I'll bring this up later. I was going to bring up something now, but I'll bring it up a little bit later.
Okay.
So remind me. I don't know.
Yeah. So that thing you didn't tell me what it was.
But I don't mind this cover. I like describe get into his whole appearance here. What we're dealing with Jemm, Son of Saturn.
Well, he looks a lot like the Martian Manhunter, except red. He's got that same kind of face with like a kind of weird musculature, like weird brow, and kind of the cheeks kind of balloon out a little bit, giving him like a weird cheek, structure. And he's just totally bald, and he's shirtless, but he's wearing a blue cape, kind of like Doctor Strange's cape, where it's got the big, like, cloaked kind of.
You know whose cape it reminds me of is Dr. Druid.
Oh, yeah. And he's also bald, so yeah.
Because, like, the cape goes across his neck in the front, like, all the way, like a scarf almost. And then on the back.
Right. Yeah, it's a blue cape. He's got, like, a yellow star on it, like a brooch.
Yes.
He's very good at accessorizing, this guy. And he's got some, like, blue, like, cuffs on his wrists there, and he's got like a big old, WWE championship belt. With like it's just a big circle in the middle, big gold circle. And then he's got some dark blue underpants and some blue pants under there. And that's about it. And his hands look kind of like his fingers look kind of pointy. Like pointier than a human being.
They're like elongated.
Yeah.
And
got some claws.
There it is.
Scratch.
Jemm, son of Saturn. All right, so we open it up and we see Jemm. He's they're sitting in like the sewers, and
as you do.
Yeah, he's just sitting on like a curb in the sewer, and Luther, the little kid's next to him, and he's prodding him. And then there's like some guy. What's this white fellow's name? Crazy Freddy.
Mr. Freddy. Yeah.
Oh, Crazy Freddy. This is a government name. And there's also a white-bodied female, like alien, lying in the muck and grime of the sewer there. And at the top we get like this little scroll. It says, "A haunting memory is like a cold wind. It has no color, no taste, no form. Yet as it blows across the mind, helter-skelter, how bitter is its touch." Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
And that's from the teachings of Rouhani.
Yeah.
He's very good.
Does all his best teachings in a cave.
And I believe Rouhani is that fella who taught Jemm all his stuff there.
Yeah.
Saturn fella. All right, so would you like to explain what's going on here in this opening scene there, Jay?
I guess in the last issue, this white lady attacked them, the white Martian lady, or Saturnian lady, attacked them, and Jemm, fought back and killed it.
Yeah, like I don't know if we explained this, but like you mentioned it, that Supergirl ripped off the backstory. Yeah, because on Saturn, he's red. A lot of the other people are red. But there's also a white race of Saturn aliens, and there's like a big war going on between the reds and the whites.
Yep. Like
the Crips and the Bloods.
Exactly. All over turf. I want the part of the land that grows vegetables.
So he thought, he didn't think anyone would know he's on Earth, but now, here's a white Saturn. How do they say it? Saturnian?
Yeah, that's so.
So he's
right off the tongue.
So he's like, but he's not talking. He's just sitting there staring at her, and he's realizing, they know where I'm here. They're going to probably come get me and all that other stuff. Because we forgot to mention, he's like the prince of Saturn, basically. Not a rock star, but the actual royalty. The
yeah, we'll find that out later in this issue.
Yeah.
I don't know if we know that up front.
But Luther's trying to get him to talk, and again, whenever I say Luther, just picture Gary Coleman.
I'm going to picture Emmanuel Lewis. Out of spite.
But so Luther's like, hey, they call him Jim, I think, because when he met Luther's grandfather, he said, he was able to make the noise Jemm, like his name, but his grandfather thought he said Jim, kind of like our buddy the Ed. He always calls people names.
Yep.
So he's like, people start calling him Jim. All right. But Crazy Freddy is digging around in the sewer water, and he finds a bottle of booze.
Yep, I like this Crazy Eddie guy. He's got the right idea.
Crazy Freddy. Crazy Eddie sold discount appliances and electronics around the New York area. Crazy Eddie.
That's right.
Yeah. But, but this, Jemm, he's just sitting there like all stoic and not even looking at Luther. And, Crazy Freddy's got his booze, and Luther's yelling at him. He's like, "Hey, don't," because Crazy Freddy calls him a geek or something. Jemm a geek. It's better than talking to some geek, especially one who don't seem to understand English, don't you know? And Luther says, "Don't you call Jim no geek, Mr. Crazy Freddy." Mr. Crazy Freddy. He's my friend. And when a friend's in trouble, you let him know he's not alone, even if you don't understand the words you're saying. You talk to him so he knows he's not alone. What a nice kid this Luther is.
Yeah. That's how you know it's not Gary Coleman.
Oh, this is my favorite part of the book, though. Then we see Mr. Crazy Freddy getting all sad, and just Luther's spoken part just comes into the panel, and he says, "What's the matter? Ain't you never had a friend?" And Mr. Crazy Freddy's just staring at his bottle of booze, and he thinks to himself, "Yeah, I got a friend, but he don't talk to me either. He's a drunk."
Yep. I wonder if this guy was also the guy who, when he did his Vampirella issue, came up with that her buddy that always just gets drunk all the time.
Yeah, I can't think of his name right now, but oh shoot, I don't know. Oh, Pendragon.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
How about that? All right.
Good
So
recall.
anyway, Luther's still trying to talk to Jemm, and Jemm's still sitting there, and
Not a man of action. Just likes to sit around.
Yes, he does. But then suddenly that the white lady's body just disappears like a crazy laser blast or something, and what's his face, Jemm, he knows, like, oh shoot. In the narration, you learn all this, but it's like they sent a laser. They recalled the body back to Saturn, just somehow zapped it back. Like,
yeah, that's some pretty good laser shooting from.
Beamed it back
worlds away.
Scotty on Star Trek or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's taking back, and now we get a flashback of Jemm remembering how it all started.
Yeah.
Why don't you walk us through this flashback?
So it starts out him and his friend Sierra, his lady friend. They're, I guess like teenagers at this point.
I think they're even younger than that. It's weird because sometimes they look older and then sometimes they look very young.
That's true. This first panel, he looks very old. Like,
they look like young married couple or something in that first panel.
Yes. Yeah, they're like shopping for their honeymoon spot or something.
But then like in the subsequent panels, there's times where it's like, I'm pretty sure they're like 8 years old. So.
Yep. Well, they're just walking around holding hands as you do, I guess, on Saturn, and there's like, hey, there's this giant ass door here. What do you think this goes to? And they're like, well, that can't be good. Like, that's nothing's supposed to exist beyond the kingdom wall, so we shouldn't open the door. But Jemm's like, don't be scared. I'll go first. I'll do it. And he's like, I'm gonna open this door. So he picks up the big locking mechanism, lifts it up, and opens the door, and immediately a white Saturnian jumps in with his big old axe.
Yeah, he's like a barbarian looking fella, the big axe. Yeah. And he grabs. Yeah, so apparently there's just a wall. It's kind of like Trump's wall, but they finished it. And it just went all the way around. And but there's a giant wooden door in the middle. What? This doesn't make sense.
Yep, and that's apparently stopped this invading force, that wooden door. Much like Shakma, that's their one weakness, is wooden doors.
I love a good Shakma reference. But yeah, like if you're on Saturn, make it some energy barrier or something, make it something cool.
Yeah.
Like not an actual cement, like a mortar wall with a wooden door in it.
What? Especially a door, just this big door that you don't tell anyone about, and when they find it, they're like, oh, what's around here? Like, maybe you should tell them, hey, don't go near that door.
Can't they just climb up over the wall?
Yeah. You would think.
So this guy's just been sitting there by this door, waiting for the time that it opens up, even though apparently all these Red Saturn people know not to open that door, except for this dopey Jemm. He goes, so that other guy's just sitting out there smoking a dart, waiting for someone to open the door. And then boom. Finally.
They don't leave like an invading force there. No, just one guy. Because if that guy can get in there, then it's going to do all the difference.
So, yeah, this guy runs in and he's going to murder Jemm and Sierra, his young lady friend. But then Jemm's daddy shows up. And
he's decked out for war. He's got his armor out.
He's got a helmet. He's got a sword. And he challenges, this barbarian guy to a fight there. He's like, yeah, picking on kids? Yeah, pick on me there, buddy. And so they start fighting. And it's
here's where I thought, like, oh, the dad's going to die tragically. And then, Jemm's going to have to learn from this event that you shouldn't do things like that. Nope. Dad kind of easily mops the floor with this guy and kills him right there. But then Jemm is like a little baby about it. He's like, my dad killed that guy. He was clearly trying to kill us. Man.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it. This Jemm, he's kind of a bitch-made cat. You know, I think that's a technical term.
Yeah. Not
tough.
great. I'd be like, wow, my dad's a badass, and I should probably, not mess around with doors like that. This is on me. But nope.
Mental note: don't piss off Dad. But he starts crying, and he goes running away. And Sierra's like, "Oh, Jemm, don't go running." And then his old man. See, now look at this last panel. Like the old man's looking down at Sierra. Sierra looks like a newborn child.
She really does. She is dwarfed by his size.
Thought she's a little baby there. It's like, what is happening? But he's like, don't worry, I know where he's going. You know, he always runs and cries to the same guy. Not even his mom either. He goes running to
his priest basically.
Yeah, his old scholarly teacher guy who's a white Saturnian.
Yeah, that seems like a weird choice because he doesn't seem to know that white Saturnians exist, except for there's one that he's teaching you every day.
Except for that guy, but everyone else.
Yeah.
So, Jemm goes in there crying. He's like, oh, I saw my dad kill a guy. And, so this, what's his teacher's name? Rahani, right? I think that's what it is.
Yeah. The teachings of Rahani.
So Rahani starts filling in Jemm on his true backstory of this. So we get an origin inside an origin.
Yep. Flashback inside a flashback.
And, I don't know. It just goes over how there's red and white Saturnians. And
the red ones lived in the desert. The white ones lived in like the Arctic section, like the ice section. And then like at one point they discovered some area that we actually grow like vegetation. And so there was a big fight over that. Everyone was warring over it. They all wanted it. Until, Jemm's daddy's daddy, I believe, like he kind of stepped up.
It may have been a few daddies removed. Like,
yeah.
I think this is an ancient, ancestor, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he kind of stepped up and was like, hey, like, this is my place. And, everybody get out, but I'll give you some food. Like, if you guys, just make me your supreme leader and never challenge me again.
Well, the other big thing about this fella, his name was, is it Jax, I think, maybe?
Jargon?
Jargon,
yeah.
There's a Jax in here somewhere. Maybe that's his dad's name. I don't know.
It's dad, yeah.
But this Jargon fella, he also had the gem on the forehead. And he used it to get in touch with these, to realize that these white Saturnians are just like them. We're alike. Let's be friends. So he kind of tried to make peace. And yeah, he cut that deal with them, like, hey, if you see me, I'm your king, and then I'll rule or whatever. And I don't know. But there still wasn't peace. The subsequent generations, like, that peace eroded over time. So, yeah. And then we get to Jemm's daddy. But that Jargon guy had the gem on his forehead, but subsequent people did not until our Jemm was born.
Well, Jemm was born.
Wonder if that made the birth difficult.
Ooh. Yeah, that's gotta hurt.
Internal bleeding on the mother. So, so Jemm is born and he's got this soul on his forehead. And they're like, oh, this kid's going to be someone special. And I like we have the panel of the king walking out, showing everybody the baby with the gem on him, like Michael Jackson with that holding blanket up,
Yep.
Just holds him up with one hand, like he's going to spike him like a dish.
That would be amazing.
And we should also mention that on Saturn here, Jemm and his little buddy Sierra, they all wear like little blue jumpsuits.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of Logan's Run-esque a little bit.
Yeah. So then Saturn's dad, Jemm's dad shows up. He sneaks up behind him while the teacher's telling him all this. And he says, son, they're like, do you understand now what's going on here? And he's like, oh, it's okay, Dad. I'm not mad that you killed a guy now. And he's like, forgive me, Jemm. And
forgive me for saving your life, you ungrateful son of a bitch.
Now we flash forward a bit, not that long after. and Jemm is waking up from his sleep, and his mother's there, and she's like, "Shh, don't say anything. We gotta get out of here." And that old teacher's there with her, and they sneak Jemm out, and because outside the palace grounds or whatever, the white Saturnians have they breached the wall. Somebody finally figured out that it's just a damn door. Kick it down. They can get in here.
Took them so many generations, but they finally put two and two together.
We're big muscular barbarian guys with axes. Let's just take them to the door here, and we can get right through. So that's what they did. And so they got these robots, and these robots are like shooting lasers out of their hands and just incinerating everybody. So, so his dad wanted his wife and the teacher guy to take their son and keep him safe. So they go off and they find a cave, and it took them a very long time to find this cave.
Like, sure did.
They're walking for weeks to get. You could have got to like a Holiday Inn or something. No, they go to a cave, and apparently they live in this cave for years.
Yep, many years. But Jemm apparently still has, even though he saw his father fighting to the death, basically, he's like, well, Dad's probably still alive, right?
Yeah, it's only been years.
Yeah. Years of fighting, and he never came to look for us. But I'm sure he's still alive.
And what's the mom doing this whole time? You know?
Yeah, she ain't going to class with Rouhani every day.
Yeah, and she's a good-looking Saturnian lady, you know? And she's stuck out here in a cave with some old white dude and her kid.
Yeah.
What's she doing?
Well, she doesn't have a lot of options. Like, everyone she knows is dead, so... Not the red Martian race is pretty much extinct except for her own son. And his son's girlfriend, as we later find out.
But this Rouhani fella, he's teaching him how to fly, and he's teaching him how to read ancient scripts and to fight with sticks. And again, the years. And then one day there's a giant fireball that's coming right for them in the cave. Did you understand this?
Yep.
I didn't understand this at all.
Yeah, it was the most bizarre description of a fireball I've ever heard. Like, it was slowly consuming everything that it touched, like devouring everything it touched, like burning it up.
I guess.
Or is it actually eating things?
But it's coming right at them in the cave, and then that's when Jemm realizes he can use his little gem on his forehead to shoot out an energy blast. And it blows up the thing. I don't know. He's
like, it took every iota of Jemm's strength to master. He apparently didn't know he had this ability till just now, and all of a sudden he was able to master it in 2 seconds. Like, there's the fireball.
But also when he used it to destroy something, it weakens him, and it takes all his energy. So very sad. But so eventually look, he's got his cape on here. How come on Earth then he doesn't have his cape, and he looks like a spindly guy? Remember, because I said when they were in the alley, Luther, he tried to change how he looked, but here he's got the cape and everything, so that's weird. All right, anyway. But they go back to their hometown there, and even though it's been at least 10 years, and when they get there, there's dead bodies strewn everywhere, skeletons and everything. Yeah. Jemm still gets there and still says, Dad, hey, Dad, where you at? Dad.
Because clearly when you're conquering a place, you always leave the old king alive and just let him roam around. That's always a good idea.
He's like, where are you, Father? And he collapses. He's all sad. He finally realizes his dad might be dead. And the teacher comes over and he says, oh, look, I found this diary.
Yeah.
It was written
it confirms your dad's dead, so get over it.
It's like, look, read it. Your dad's dead. And he reads it.
Put on your big boy pants.
And he says, oh, but this was written by your old pal Sierra, your old girl chum, when you're 8 years old or whatever. And your dad likes...
Another Martian survived, and it happened to be her, of all people.
And it says Dad, your dad really liked Sierra a lot, apparently more than you and your mother, because he put her on a ship to Earth. Well, he put you guys into a cave. 10 years.
There's something going on with him and Sierra.
I think so.
I don't like it.
So when he's explaining all this to him, one of them Saturn robots come up behind him, and he zaps the teacher with his energy beam, blows him up, and then he shoots Jemm's mom. Yep. And we hardly knew her. And she's just
10 years of just making fires, I guess.
And then Jemm starts to weep, and then he gets very mad, and he says, "I will never run again. I will not run like the night we fled from my father's side. I will never run." And he double axe handles this robot in the head. Boom. Knocks his head off. So yeah, Jemm's not running away anymore. He's going to stand his ground. Oh, wait a minute. I'm just going to run to Earth. Hold on. I got to go. And he goes to Earth.
Yep.
Because he wants to see his old girl chum, Sierra, who he hasn't seen in 10 years.
To be fair, like, what is he going to do on Saturn at this point? Everyone's fucking dead. Like,
I can get out revenge on all the people that killed your family. That might be
all you can do is
that's step one. Step two.
I don't like his chances though. He's one guy who clearly he barely knows how to fight with sticks. Yeah.
This guy, bitch made cat, son of Saturn. All right, so yeah, he's going to go to Earth, and luckily there's just a spaceship still just sitting there. And
luckily every space race that has one survivor they need to send away always sends them to Earth.
Yes. Listen, I've lived on Earth my whole life. There's a big universe out there. Pick somewhere else. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You don't want to come here. It's not a nice place. Yeah, go somewhere else. But so now we cut back to Earth, and all right, there's this guy smoking the dark. He's like a NASA scientist, and in the issue 1, there's a scene where he and his wife, they're both scientists, and they're investigating sightings of a UFO or something. And it turns out that they were those Saturn robots, and they murdered his wife.
Oof.
So now he's out to get revenge on these robots because he's not a bitch made cat. He wants to get some revenge. But so they're at some board meeting, and he's there with some other people. Some scientist with like a robotic eye. I don't know what that guy's deal is.
Yeah. It looks like, remember those laser tag helmet things they had back in the day?
I do not, but it seems pretty cool. And they're meeting with somebody because they brought in a special advisor on all things Saturn. And,
all things alien, I guess. He's like their space advisor. So
who's the big space advisor, Jake?
Well, that's the big reveal on the last page. Is the big space advisor is Superman. He's like, they wanted somebody who knows, that everything on Saturn is dead. I should know because I've been there.
Superman vacations on Saturn. So, next issue, Super Battle. Superman and Jemm. Now, you're probably wondering, why didn't you pick that? That's probably more exciting. Because I hate Superman. That's why.
You're going to love next week's pick.
You son of a bitch. But that's what I wanted to bring up earlier. I said, hey, remind me. I saw today there's a big Superman trailer came out for that new Superman movie.
Yeah, it's a teaser trailer, not a full trailer. But yeah, it was, did you watch it?
Yes.
It's, I don't know. I wasn't overly thrilled, but it could be okay.
Yeah, well, I'm never going to watch it because it's made by James Gunn.
Aww.
And I know some things about James Gunn that a lot of people don't know about. But anyway, but Crypto the dog.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Like, I like that they're going more cartoony and comic booky rather than the super serious, Zack Snyder stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Who's the guy playing Superman?
He's got a terrible name. I think his name is David Cornsweat.
Cornsweat. What if that was the stage name he picked?
I know. What was he thinking?
That's not good at all. Because that's going to look great on a marquee. Cornsweat.
Cornsweat. I like that they had Guy Gardner, and he does have the stupid haircut, though. That was something.
Gary Cooper, Cary Grant, Cornsweat. So anyway, I'm never going to watch that movie. But Superman. So
Lois looks like Lois, so I don't know. I don't know who that is.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Who is that? Is that anybody?
I don't know. I don't know what her name is, but
it's episode Cornsweat. All right, so that's Jemm, son of Saturn. And what do you think, Jack?
Oh boy, this if we hadn't just read Alf, this may have been up there with One of the worst things we've ever done. It just felt so generic. Like it was just kind of your most basic plot of, oh, there's two races on this planet and they don't get along. And there really wasn't any kind of twist or anything to make it fun. And it's just, so many of the 80s movies we watched in the LCS hockey show, like the old fantasy movies, are all this same plot. Like, someone's training them from when they were a kid to when they're an adult, and then their family gets murdered, and then they have to fight them. It's like, yep, seen this a billion times. Everything just about this felt generic and ripped off. Like the whole sending her in a rocket to Earth was just ripped off of Superman. Like, I think his mom's name was like Jarella, which was very close to what the Hulk's, green lady, was named. And, when he was like on that, in like the 70s, when he went on that like microverse planet, like, I don't know, like everything just felt like it was stolen from somewhere else. And the fact that he was a, Martian Manhunter ripoff just really seals that deal.
Yeah, it's just, he's so soft. He could play defense for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's so soft. He's not a hero I want to, get behind here. It's like, what the hell?
I should be curious about whether he ever reunited with, his Sierra, but I don't even really care.
Yeah, it's a girl he knew as a classmate when he was 8 years old or whatever. It's like, well,
yeah,
get over it. Not a big deal. I don't know. It's not like it's his sister or something. That would have made more sense. Oh, I got to go save my sister. Or I got to go.
Well, I mean, she is the last of his kind, so I guess if he has any hope of ever getting laid, he's got to find it.
But in theory, they just went to their hometown. Like, who knows? There could be other Red Saturnians elsewhere on the planet,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just the whole backstory was weak. The giant wall with the door, that was dumb.
It really was. His reaction to his dad, fighting back against that guy was just abysmal. Yeah. It was embarrassing.
When I flip through this, like I say, I always get the images before I read it, and for the video. And when I saw that scene, I thought, oh, well, this guy, he's going to try and kill Jemm, and this guy's going to kill that little girl. And Jemm ran away. But no, that was his dad. I don't know. But he's running away from his dad. I don't know. It's odd. The whole thing is odd. Really Gene Colan actually enjoyed this, apparently. I read an interview with him. He didn't talk about it much, but he said he liked it because he thought the writing was unique. And
I didn't get any of that.
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
It's about as stock as it comes.
And I didn't like this at all, really.
No.
And even Colan's art was kind of like a little looser than the old days.
Yes, very much so. Like there wasn't much detail in the faces at all. And like you said, the character size and age seemed to vary randomly.
That was a problem in that scene. I had no idea how old these characters were, and it was a trouble. Yeah, there's just I don't know. Oh, I'm never going to run again. And then he runs again. He just goes back to Earth. I don't know. I want to see him take back the planet,
Yeah, do something. Or maybe he's coming to Earth to raise an army, He could get Superman on his side after they have their super battle. And then just let Superman do all the work.
So, yeah, there's that. I did flip through that Superman issue. And it's the whole thing where they fight each other for a little bit before they realize, oh, we're on the same team. One of them deals, And at some point, there's some guy or some other person from Saturn. He's got a ray gun, and he shoots Superman with it and knocks him out. Like zaps him good. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Last job when it comes to alien ray guns.
So, all right, yeah, Jemm, son of Saturn. I don't know what else is there to say about this. Avoid it.
Yeah, I can't really recommend this to just about anyone.
Now,
based off this,
if Luthor was Gary Coleman, 9 out of 10. Since he was not.
What was that actor's name? He usually played his dad, Robert Guillaume. He could have been.
Yeah, Robert Guillaume Benson. Yeah.
He could have been Jemm.
Now that would be awesome. But, yeah. The the Saturnian from left field. Yeah. All right, so yeah, I don't know. It's just bland and dull.
Yeah.
And it's not a hero I want to ever read again or care about. So
yeah, it's easy to see why this didn't take off.
yeah, I'll give it a 2.
That's where I was going too. Yeah, I really can't go any higher than that.
Which is a shame because I like
good either. So yeah, I really can't go higher than a 2.
Because I like the art more than you. He did some interesting stuff with panel layout and stuff, but nothing too groundbreaking or anything. But I like Gene Colan, so it pains me to say, but yeah, I just don't like the character. I don't like the story. So what can you do?
Yeah, not the most exciting of origins. Probably didn't need a whole issue. It turns out.
An origin inside an origin inside an origin. Yeah.
Yep. Russian doll of origin story.
All right, there it is, Jemm, son of Saturn. Try and top that. For next.
All right. Well, the last panel featuring Superman leads us perfectly into this next issue. I will not be picking Jemm, son of Saturn #4, but I will be picking a different Superman story because, well, a couple of reasons. I wanted to pick a Vandal Savage issue.
Oh, yeah. I remember you mentioned this guy to me last week, and I was like, yeah, I don't think we've ever done a Vandal Savage issue.
And it seems like he's mostly just appearing in like Flash and Superman issues, so it kind of narrowed the options down. And this Superman issue, besides featuring the villainy of Vandal Savage there, features a bunch of like these forgotten DC heroes from like the 50s and such. So we can learn all about them as well, including a guy by the name of Gorilla, who's a man who can turn himself into a gorilla.
Oh, man. That's my dream.
I know.
Well, into a chimp would be my dream.
Yeah, well, beggars can't be choosers.
All right. Gorilla. Okay, so what number are we doing here?
So we're going to be doing Action Comics number 553. Yep.
You know a year on this?
1983.
Action Comics 553 from 1983. That's next week here on Flea Market Fantasy. All right. Well, thanks to Jank. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We appreciate the support. And until next week, don't get any jank on you.